Now let's talk about slides. This is one that is a bit challenging for most people. Most people have the basic understanding of how they may go about doing slides, but I've got some shortcuts for you here I think are going to be really helpful. So when looking at the slides, you have a message, and then you want to present that message in your slide. Well, it's important to keep it clear so that one message equals one slide. You should never have more than one message on one slide. Furthermore, the slide itself, you're going to want to minimize your text. Now, if you're presenting something and it's more of a training thing or you need reference material, whatever, but in general, you want to minimize the amount of text on the screen as possible. Use images, use diagrams. Look at this slide right here. Think about how I came up with this kind of a layout. This was all based around this idea of this one-to-one where you have one slide for one message. Also, you should consider using full screen images. We've seen a few already in this module, and think about all the other ones. And when that full screen image really draws you in, you can use a motion or a moving image, that kind of a thing. But really think about using images, diagrams. They're so much more powerful. Hopefully throughout this course, you've learned about the power of visual perception and how as humans, we're just designed, we're wired for visual input much more than we are any kind of text or auditory or any other input. So try to use those to your advantage, and you will get a lot further and convey a lot more meaning with actually a lot less writing. It's really simple. You put some images that represent what you want to say, and then you just say it. Now let's take a look and actually go through an example. So if I'm designing a slide, the step one that I'm going to go through here is have my slide ready and put some points on there. This is pretty common, right? In fact, the software we use usually, Keynote, PowerPoint are the most common ones, encourage this type of behavior. Well, unfortunately, this is a really bad way of communicating. If you've heard death by bullet point, that's exactly this. People say death by PowerPoint. I think that's unfair. I think PowerPoint itself is just a tool. Although it does encourage some poor choices in design, it is just a tool and you can make it do whatever you want. So don't let somebody tell you that PowerPoint is the devil here. It's the bullet points, in my opinion, that are the devil. So this is typical, right? You go through and you add point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. You add some more detail. You add more and more detail. And sooner or later, it looks like a dissertation. And now, if I were to show you this and put it on the screen well in advance of me talking, most people, what's going to happen is they're going to start reading it. They're going to start going through point by point, reading ahead. Now, that's destructive. You want your message to come across at the exact right cadence at the time that you want to throw the punchline in there is super important. So don't let that happen. Now, once I've done this and I've bullet pointed or outlined my message, what I want to do is actually find the most important one here that happens to be point 4. And so I'm going to take all of these, I'm going to go down to my notes section, and I'm going to put them in there. So now I still have all that detail. I still have that structure that I came up with. And I'm just going to get rid of what was actually on the slide. So now I'm not distracting anybody. I'm not causing any problems with people trying to read ahead. My message can still be delivered exactly on time. And instead what I'm going to do is replace that with an image. Here's a graphic that represents all the locations where Pluralsight users are located. And my message in this slide was that we're actually in 150 plus countries. So you can see here how I took all this text and all this raw detail, simply copied it down, found the most important bit, found an image to represent what I was trying to talk about, and I could leave that image up there for a long time and talk because you're going to be visually exploring it, but still able to process what I'm saying. And then lastly, I put just a couple pieces of text that is the exact point I'm trying to make. Think about the difference between those two versions of that slide there. Think about how effective this one would be over the other one.